Welcome back, and joining me with more insight on the day's trade is Faheema Adia from Momentum Securities. Thank you so much for your time, Faheema. It's been quite interesting to see how the JSE has moved today, and particularly we are seeing the gold counters flying. I'm wondering what's driving this and if they're still digesting the rate cut from the Fed on Wednesday.
Good afternoon, Zinati. Thanks for having me. Yeah, so overall, I think we are seeing a bit of weakness today on the JSE. It's been dragged down a bit by the industrials and also by the financial sector. But like you said, on a positive note, resources are really up, and in particular, the gold stocks. And I think it's exactly that, the interest rate cuts that we've seen in the US now still having a positive impact on gold, because gold generally does well in lower yielding environments, given that it doesn't yield any interest. And also the dollar weakness, I think, is also having a positive impact on price.
All right. Well, talking about pricing, I'm sure that is something that is being discussed on TikTok, where it might have a potential buyer in the US. Of course, we still have a call that we are waiting for between Trump and Xi Jinping. Just talk to me about what's come out of this so far.
Yeah, so it seems a few discussions have already been had about TikTok. Like you said, it looks like there may be a US buyer. We'll need to see, how China feels about that. Of course, the tensions there between the US and China have been escalating day to day. The most recent escalation we've seen now is China blocking NVIDIA's chips, and also China's Huawei coming up with their own very advanced AI chips. So it's not certain at this stage, but we'll have to wait to see what happens at that call scheduled for later this week. And I'm assuming they'll also be discussing the tariffs, but it's also not clear at this stage if an agreement has been made there. It's quite likely we could see an extension to those tariff deadlines.
Well, an agreement being made between the US and the UK, seeming that as much as the US is fighting with everybody, but clearly not with the UK. $200 billion investments being pledged there. Of course, we know that was done during Trump's state visit to the UK. What does this mean?
Yeah, quite a massive investment there. We're seeing pledges come from the likes of US companies like Microsoft, Alphabet, also NVIDIA. Looks like those investments will focus on AI and data center development in the UK to try to bring it up to par with the US. So that should be positive for that sector. But of course, the UK economy is still under a lot of pressure. I don't think it's going to have any massive immediate impact on improving growth there. It could be more of a longer term situation whereby we see some boosts to GDP coming from the AI sector on the back of those investments, hopefully.
All right. Well, Faheema, let's get into some of the JSE company news. Not a lot, but actually for a Friday, two is quite substantial. So we did have Investec coming out with its pre-close trading statement for 5 months before they take out their interim results. Quite a confusing set of numbers, because usually a company will say that their numbers will increase or decrease, but here they said that they expect either. So what's happening there? I also just saw that investors didn't really react too pleasingly on that.
Yeah, so it looks like it's been a tough environment for Investec, both in South Africa and in the UK. And just looking at those headline earnings per share, it looks like it's expected to be broadly in line with what it was last year. So we could maybe not see growth at all, or we could see a very slight increase. So it just shows it has been quite a tough environment. But looking at the credit loss ratio, that's still looking pretty strong. It's between 25 to 45 basis points, showing pretty strong credit quality. Also, the return on equity seems to be within its medium target. So they did say that the revenue that they did see come through was supported by increased levels and positive inflows in funds under management, but that was offset by the negative impact of lower interest rates, reducing income from the investment portfolio. So yeah, I think it was a bit of a mixed result there, but looking okay, I would say, for now.
All right. Well, what are you excited about? Your stock pick for today?
So I'm looking at Sun International. The recent interim results look quite positive, particularly from the SunBets division. That is the online sport betting and gambling part of the business. We're seeing income from there increase by a whopping 70%. And we are still seeing some weakness in the physical casino side of the business. So there has been a bit of a shift in consumer from the physical casinos to now online via the SunBets division. But I don't think this is a problem. I think over time we probably will just see more of the revenue and profitability start to come through from the SunBet side. And if we look at the resorts and hotel side of the business, we continue to see steady recovery come from there as well. And I think heading into the holiday season, those results will be boosted due to increased spend from there. And just looking at it from a valuation perspective, it is looking attractive on a forward PE of just 7.5 times. So that's my pick.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time and giving us your analysis on what has moved investors' money today, Faheema. That was Faheema Adia from Momentum Securities.